It's tea time with Matt Swift. All right, welcome everybody. Hello, it's tea time with Matt Swift. It's 11:30 a.m. on a Sunday here in Columbus, Ohio. I'm coming to you live here on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, so you can follow along on any of those places. We mostly do the chat on Facebook, so if you want to get involved and talk with us here today about the tea we'll be drinking and talking about, and any other topics we have until all the tea is gone, come over here onto Facebook. Where we can have a chat with you. If you just want to follow along and you can watch this on YouTube or Twitter, feel free to do that. So just to get started, like I said, this is Tea Time. This is a show that I put together. This is actually just the second episode. We've put this together, me and my wife. She has her own show, the See What's Created Live, that happens on every other Sunday, and then mine is the alternate Sundays. So she had a show last week with Michael Watson, which was really good, a local Columbus, Ohio comics artist. And she'll have a show next week with a local musician and artist. Actually, one of the youngest members we'll probably have on our show, Ilia Lavazetta. She's a teenager. She just had her first art show. And so that'll be a cool discussion to have. And that'll be on Sunday night next week. So this show, Tea Time, I just put this together because, usually on Sunday mornings I'm sitting here chatting and with me and Nikki, we're watching the news, we're watching other stuff, we're usually having coffee or tea or something, and I decided, well, why not just sit and have tea together and invite other people to enjoy a hot beverage and talk with us as well. And then also, I just kind of wanted to get back on the saddle of talking to people in public, being able to, have conversations with people on a regular basis and, just work on beefing up those skills. I had to take a hiatus a little bit from that life for personal reasons, and now I'm just trying to work on different strategies to get back on that. So this is one way to do that. So I thank everybody who will be watching today for giving me the chance to be able to come to you on whatever device you might be watching on and talk about some tea and maybe whatever else comes up today. So anyways, all right, so we'll get started. Today, the tea we're going to be talking about is a Rooibus tea. Rooibus is it's an African tea. It comes from a very specific part of Africa. It's a red tea. Rooibus kind of means red bush is where the word comes from. This kind of Rooibus tea is something that a lot of people are drinking instead of a lot of caffeinated teas now. There's some health benefits that go along with it. People think that it helps with inflammation, other kind of stomach issues, anxiety. There's a whole list of stuff. If you just search for Rooibus tea, you can see it's really good, beneficial. A lot of people drink it on special diets and to help with things as well. So that's something that you can look into if you're interested. One important note while doing some research for this show to learn a little bit more about Rooibus tea is that it does come from a very specific area within Africa, and with all the climate change that has been happening and droughts and other things, there's quite a big business around this kind of tea right now, and that business is they're speculating that it could suffer drastically because of the inability to actually farm the crop needed to produce this kind of tea. So, they're trying to come up with strategies and stuff to help with that. If you're interested in this specific tea because you like Rooibus tea, then I would definitely urge you to go look online and see if there's some kind of organization that you can help spread the word about that's, promoting this kind of tea so that you can just get more involved. Today, specifically, we're going to be drinking a Rooibus Truffle, right? This is actually really cool. I'm super happy to have this tea. I shared the link. So with the person I got this tea from. So me and my wife, we've been doing acupuncture with New Realm Acupuncture here in Columbus, Ohio for a very long time. We go quite regularly, probably for at least 8 or 9 years, maybe more. I lose track. It's been so long. But Gao and Jing there both they do a very good job, and it helps with a lot of the things that we deal with. And they gave us this tea when Jing had gone back to China, and so this is a really cool tea. It's a Rooibus Truffle, and it's by William Rabbit's British Tea Room. William Rabbit's British Tea Room, very interesting. It was hard to find their website at first, even though it says it right on the can. They seem to be having some website problems. They also have a QR code on the back that you can just get straight to that website. But it's actually a leftover British tea room in kind of like a French Quarter hidden in Shanghai. So it's an African tea that then goes through Germany and is reprocessed and made into different flavors and stuff. And then this little holdover tea room inside of Shanghai is who sells this out to people. So, that's pretty cool. It's international tea here, and it's something that wouldn't be really easy to get. It has a combination of English and Chinese and other kind of scripts on the box too, so it makes it kind of hard to decipher and figure out where to get more information. So I'm gonna go. It sounds like I might have a question or anything coming up, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started by putting a little bit of tea in the pot, and then we can answer some of the people who have come on the show already.
So McCall obviously said, so it's from Wakanda.
It's possible. It is possible that it's from Wakanda.
Nicole says, hi, smiley face, and she wants cool tea accessories.
Awesome, cool tea accessories. We might have to come up with some of that. So I'm weird with accessories. Like, we're very minimalist in our kitchen. And so, I've got a few little, like sugar and creamer caddy. I'm still working on trying to find what I want to do about honey. Honey's sticky. It gets everywhere. I'm trying to decide what to do about that so far. I tend to use, we have metal chopsticks that we use for a lot of stuff. I like to use a metal chopstick for stuff like this because it helps. You don't get a spoonful of it, so it's just kind of a stir stick. It works really, really well for that. So, and then I have my nice little spoon here for measuring out the tea. Now, this is a super cool tea. And anyway, I just want to, before I forget, so welcome McCall and Nicole to the show. Thanks for watching. If you have any other questions or any comments, let me know. So this tea is really cool. I'm just going to put a few scoops in here, and it's kind of hard to see on the camera. But, so this is a red Rooibus tea, but it has dried grapes and bits of cocoa mixed in. And I don't know, it's probably kind of hard to see there, on the camera, but if I can spread it out a bit, you might be able to see there's like, a little chunk of cocoa in here with the tea. There's dried grape. It's very tasty. So, we're going to have a lot of fun drinking this today. So.
And of course, Daniel went bad places. So I think he's confused with which Swift he's talking about. You never were good with anything sticky.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you're confusing your Swifts, Daniel.
Yeah, Nikki's the one that's not very good with the sticky stuff, but that's fine. So, let's see, is this at the right temp? So, I'll go ahead and start this again, let it warm back up. We're going to have to give that a second to get hot. I got my handy-dandy electric kettle here that you can set to time, and you can set to temp. And the red tea, they recommend that you brew it the same as a black tea, right? So you're looking at boiling to 90 degrees. As I talked about on the last show, I like to do a 90 degrees because then you're not scorching the tea, but you're hot enough that that's a low boil, right? So when we get into talking about other teas, we can talk about getting down into 80 or 70 degrees because some teas, they prefer 70 degrees, and you can do that with a nice kettle like this, or you can do it by exchanging water. We'll actually play that out. So when we get to probably green tea, because that's the thing we talk about. I'm going to move some few things here. So I've got this is my Tibetan singing bowl I play. That's what I ring the show in here, right? And then going to move my tea back over here so you can kind of see it here with the tea kettle while it warms up. So, if anybody has any other topics they want to talk about today, we can talk about that. I'm wearing, last week I wore a shirt that was orphans everywhere, and we ended up talking about orphans a lot because we were doing a jiri tea, which is an African tea from Kenya that supports education for orphans. We got some really cool news. I actually had tagged them in the post, and the people running that Facebook page has come. You have to put the www. Nikki's trying to pull up the website and post it. You have to actually put www in front of it, or it will not show up. So it's funny. I was trying to research the. I'll skip back over this for a minute. I was trying to research. Like, you can hear the kettle going. So I apologize for that. It's pretty loud. It's getting the water boiling. So I was researching this tea room, and it was hard to find the website. Because you use the QR code, it takes you to a site that there's no English on there whatsoever. It's a little hard to navigate. It's just the site is just a little difficult, anyways. It seems like it's a mobile site, and it doesn't really translate well on the computer. But then if you just search like Rabbit Tea Room, like, you don't really get anything. You have to actually put in www.rabbittearoom, all one word, .com into the URL, and that's how you'll get it. It'll be really hard to get any other way. So, and it seems like, she's even searching it again, and it's gone down. So it's like one day it works, one day it doesn't work. It's very interesting how that's the case. But we'll try to post a link to it later so that you can find this tea. I think you can order some of it online if you can decipher the website, translate it. That's the amazing thing about the tools these days, is you can translate these sites. But back to the good news. So I had tagged a Jiri tea company from the last show, and the people who run their Facebook page and stuff saw it, and they were very happy with what I had said about their tea, and they're going to go back. They're about to go back to Kenya to visit the women who put all the tea together, and they said they're going to share the video with them when they go there. That's just really cool. That makes me happy, just because it's a cool tea. It's a cool project. If you missed that, go back and watch the last episode. You can learn about a Jiri tea there. So we're going to let this get a little warmer. So like I said, I wore Orphans Are Everywhere last week. This week I'm wearing Underdog. Underdog is one of my favorite cartoons from like a classic golden age of cartoons that happened in the 50s and 60s. If you don't know much about Underdog, he was basically, it's kind of like a Superman kind of thing. He was the Shoeshine boy, was his alter ego. And whenever, I think it was Pretty Polly is the other dog, is the female dog, when she was being victimized by some of the evil villains in town, he would take this magic pill from his super secret ring, and he would turn into Underdog. And he would always speak in kind of rhymes, please everybody have no fear, 'cause Underdog is here, right? It's really cheesy, but it's fun. It's a combination of limited animation with some more structured animation back there at a time when a lot of other Cartoon Networks were coming up, animators were coming up out of the Disney warehouse. Once the Disney warehouse had some trouble with some strikes and broke up, and you had like UPA cartoons and some other stuff. Like I think recently, like Donald Trump had said something about Sessions looks like Mr. Magoo. Mr. Magoo was actually a UPA cartoon, right? Which was like the predecessor to some of the animators that did things like Underdog. Underdog was specifically sponsored by General Mills to sell cereal. There were several shows, but most of them didn't take off, whereas Underdog did, and ended up being 124 episodes before the whole series ended.
All right, your friends are going crazy.
Yeah.
Well, so your fans are going crazy, I should say. So Nicole had a question, but then she had to run to Starbucks, so we'll loop back to that when we know she's back. And Nicole said, make sure you don't lose the question because it's good. So, Michael Carroll says, morning, Matt. And then
hey,
Dan
Michael
wants to know if we can post a picture of the QR code.
Yeah, we'll try to do that. It'll be hard. Nikki might be able to, you could actually take the QR code and you could post it there. See if you can find it. The QR code, like I said, it leads to It leads to a mobile site that's a little hard to decipher, but you can find some stuff. It's mostly ends up having like Pinterest pictures on it, but we'll try to find a link and get it up there. Nikki can work on that. We're gonna let this brew for about 3 to 5 minutes. I'm gonna try to watch the clock and make that happen. That's the recommended brew time here. You can already see, right? It's kind of red. It doesn't get real dark. It's a real light tea. And it's something you can drink any way. They actually recommend you can drink it with honey, you can drink it with sugar, you can drink it with lemon, you can drink it with cream. You can drink it any way you want. It's very similar to a black tea in that you can combine it with many things and it'll taste good. And that's probably what I'll do here today. I'll probably try a little bit with each thing and see how it tastes and kind of talk about it as we go. So, any other comments or anything at this point?
So Michael says, when criminals in this world appear and break laws, that they should fear and frighten all those who see or hear.
Nice.
And it won't let me click see more.
Yeah, he's quoting Underdog.
Yes. And Daniel wants you to have a magic tea ring.
Oh yeah, a magic tea ring. Okay.
And then Daniel says Mr. Peabody and Sherman before they ruined it with the reboot.
Yeah, there's a reboot, and then they ended up making a really bad movie a handful of years ago that was kind of like live action CG. It is what it is. I like the original cartoon. It's lots of fun. I love watching animation. It's one of my favorite things, especially animation is kind of funny because I love comedy. I love anything that can make me laugh. Laughter is just a really, really great thing in life. If there's no laughter, then I don't really see a point in going on. You have to be able to laugh. You see, I'm already laughing at myself. I do that. I laugh at myself quite regularly.
Daniel wants to know where we got the teapot.
Okay, cool. That's a good question. So we can go through the accoutrement here, right? The teapot here, this is actually from IKEA. As Daniel Colvin, who's watching the show, knows, we've got a small IKEA addiction problem. There's one just north of us, very close. It's like within 10 minutes. We can go up there, and I'm pretty clumsy. Actually, I break things quite regularly. And so I've already smashed 2 glass French presses. So now we have a stainless steel French press. I can't quite smash that, right? Yet, right? I'll find a way. That's what it is. This, I ended up picking up this teapot because it's nice, thermal walled. It's got the nice basket in it. The basket, it all locks in place with the lid here really nicely. And then it's also clear, right? So it's great for this show. I'm going to do the clear pot and a clear mug, right? So you can see what I'm doing. Everything else is kind of we've got some from various places. The kettle like this you can pick up. I think we got this at Target. Most places you can get a good electric kettle. What I like about this one is it has a whole button, and so it'll sit there and just cycle and keep the water at 90 degrees for about 10 minutes. And if you don't get to it by 10 minutes, then it'll start to cycle down and let it cool. But it's nice that like you can set the temp and then it'll just sit there and cycle on it and keep it right at the right temperature for you. So, very good question. So it looks like Nikki, who's running the camera and handling questions for me, she's still trying to get the website thing to work, but it's not quite working out yet. It looks like we're in between 3 and 5 minutes here. So
I like to put milk in my tea, says Nicole.
All right, cool. Nicole?
Nicole.
All right, cool. This is going to get confusing really quickly because the difference between Nicole and Nicole is very hard to understand sometimes. And even within our household, Nikki will be like, yeah, Nicole said this. And I'm like, Nicole or Mickle? Because there's just, we had 2 friends. One's with an M, one's with an N. And so it's kind of hard. I think I'm going to go with some cream. And a little bit of sugar first, and then we'll come back to just regular, just by itself here after that, so I can talk about the flavor as I get some tea all over my nice drape here.
Daniel wants side-by-side tastings of a cup plain and then one with honey and other stuff to comment on the flavor change.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So after I do the cream and sugar, I'll do one just by itself, and I'll talk about it. The whole idea is that we're gonna sit here and drink and talk until all the tea is gone. Nikki might swing over and snag a little bit so that goes a little faster.
I have
Um, it,
tons of coffee.
oh yeah, she has coffee, so man, that means I'm stuck drinking this whole thing by myself, which means I might be here for a while, unless she changes her mind. You can see, like, it's a real light tea, right? I didn't put a whole lot of milk in there, and it didn't really do much. The tea, you got this nice little bit of a caramel look to it.
McCall is back, and she's in the Starbucks hacking the Wi-Fi. Go.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to start using last names. Who's that? Is that Childress or Desiree?
Childress.
Okay, good. Cool.
A flight of teas.
Awesome. Thank you for hacking Starbucks Wi-Fi to be with us today while you drink your coffee. Oh man, that's good. Oh, that's good. Man, I gotta take a second to brace myself. So, like I said, it has grapes, dried grapes, and chunks of cocoa in it. So, it's not real bitter. You get the nice little bit of cocoa right off the bat, and the cream really helps. The cream draws out that cocoa flavor, especially with the sugar. It helps accentuate that. The grape does something weird. It like puts a coating on your tongue that is real nice, and that's the flavor that holds with the red. The cocoa kind of fades after a few minutes, but then that like nice red, kind of real earthy kind of taste that comes out of, like, it's basically, technically Rubius it's an herb. It's not really a tea. It's twigs. It's part of this red bush. And so it's not necessarily always a leaf. It's a mix of these kind of things. And so technically they classify it as an herb. And so it has like an earthy, like rootish kind of flavor to it, but it's very soft and subtle. Like, if you drink a dandelion root tea or something, that stuff can be valerian root, any of those like really strong, robust root teas. Oh, whew, they can be very, very bitter on the palate. Whereas this is nice and smooth, especially with the cream and sugar, and then you have the grape, and adds a little bit of sweetness to it, and then you have the cocoa flavor as well. So that's really good. You could probably just buy a Rooibus tea and then dry up a few grapes and dry up, a few, get a few chunks of cocoa and then chop them up and actually just make this mix yourself. It'd probably be really good with some other stuff too, right? You could get some different kinds of raisin and maybe put in there. You could maybe do like a cranberry, might be really good. So you could chop up little pieces of dried fruit and put in just with a regular red Rooibus tea, and some cocoa nibs, and get at least up close to what we've got here. So, slurping my tea.
So McCall, Childress was expecting it to turn pink.
Oh yeah, no. That might be another. Yeah, you would expect, right? But it is red, but it's not. It's this light reddish brown flavor, right? And that might have something to do with the roast and also the cocoa in it. There is a pink tea that I'm interested in. It's that I might bring on another show. That's a kind of like a pink chai, but it's a kind of thing that you have to brew for a while, and you brew it with other spices and stuff. So we'll see what that happens. See if that happens at some point. So.
So, let's circle back to her.
Yeah, what's the earlier question that McCall had?
The question is, since tea is a kind of produce, what are the things you look for in tea to assess its quality?
I'm indiscriminate. So I drink so much tea, it's kind of pointless for me to be that, like, and put that much investigation into my tea. So really, I just look for companies that have something that sounds interesting and they're doing something cool. This company, who knows, right? This is an African tea that goes through Germany that again gets processed and then ends up in a little shop in Shanghai that was once part of a colonial area, the French colonial area there. So, and it's hilarious because their icon is this statue of a rabbit in a very official British thing with the shirt and the jacket and the puffy kind of ascot thing going on. Who knows what's going on with this tea? But I mean, they have several different varieties that sound really good. When we do look for some of the teas, we do look for sustainable practice. We look for fair trade. We try to find those when we can for our own self purchases. There's lots of good labels on stuff where you can find that. That can lead me into the next show. That's a good question. So the next show, we had a request on the first one for an Earl Grey. I'm not a giant Earl Grey fan, right? It's good. It's all right. I like all teas, but if I had to choose and there were a bunch of teas on a shelf, Earl Grey would be fairly far down the list. But we had a request from a viewer last time. Actually, one of Nikki's cousins, Drew, right, had requested this. So I'm gonna go try to find an Earl Grey that I like, right? We'll see. There's a few tea shops in town that are specifically that's what they do is coffee and tea. And so I'm gonna go to a few of those and see if I can find an Earl Grey that I like. I found one that's like an Earl Grey with lavender and Earl Grey with vanilla. And then they have their plain Earl Grey at this one tea shop. So we'll see. I'll maybe pick one of those up. We do like to shop local. So anything that we can normally find. I know that this is clear around the globe, but it was a gift from somebody. If we can shop local and find things that say that advertise sustainable farming and stuff like that, then that's really what we like to support, even if it's going to cost a few extra bucks. Like last week, a Jiri tea is $8-9 for 20 tea bags, which some of the other teas we have it's $2 for 20 tea bags, but they're doing something really cool, so it's worth it. Plus, you get lots of free art and other stuff, right? So that's definitely worth it.
All right, so then McCall Childress
Just go to the plane.
said, so wine and coffee have a process for tasting. Is there a process specifically for teas?
Oh, that's good. I'll have to research that for the next show. I'll look that up. I'm pretty sure there is. Because you can find stuff online about how to brew them correctly, how much you put into it, how much you put in versus how much you steep it for versus how much temperature, right? And so there's most likely a whole kind of aficionado thing for tea out there, which is something as this show develops, I'm going to have to become more aware of, right?
Well, your greens, you brew at 100 degrees,
yeah.
whereas your
tea, no, I didn't want to get into that yet until I got to green show, but yeah, the green is 70, like a good Japanese green tea, roasted green with barley or something like that, it's 70 degrees, right? So within different cultures, there's an understood kind of tradition around tea of how to do it and people who do it well, but there is most likely some kind of
yerba mate has its own
thing,
cup.
Yeah, there are lots of teas that they have lots of different ways you're supposed to make them on a regular basis. What are you doing over there?
Nothing.
So,
it's not gonna help me.
All right. So this is just the tea without any cream or sugar in it, right? It's very light, right? You add sugar, you add honey, you add milk. It really brings out the distinctive flavors. It by itself is, you lose some of the cocoa flavor. The grape is more apparent in by itself. And then the actual Rooibus itself, the tea leaf or bark is really subtle. It's very light tea. This is something I could see drinking cold very easily. Make a nice, a very nice iced tea if you wanted to brew some up and then put it in the fridge and drink it later cold.
So, Daniel wants to try this tea the next time they're over.
All right, we've got enough.
And wonders how it would be with a good whiskey, a gourmet toddy.
Oh. It'd probably be good. Like I said, the red isn't very robust, and so you're just gonna get some slight little hints of flavor, so it's not gonna overpower anything. So that might be a really good to make like a tea cocktail. Yeah, it might enhance the chocolate. So.
Let's see.
That's good.
McCall thinks the tea might be nice baked into a wafer cookie.
Yeah. Yeah, you could totally do that. I mean, you saw that like it's these real thin pieces that almost look like grass. And then it's got the nibs and the grapes in it. Yeah, it would probably be really good baked into something. I could even see you putting it into like an oatmeal cookie or something.
And again, Nicole Childress says there's a tea house in Old Dublin. She's never been, but there could be a Childress Swift adventure.
Yeah, we could do that. There's one in Dublin. There's one somebody recommended to me in Westerville as well that I was probably going to go and check out too. So if anybody's up for an outing to the one in Westerville or one in Dublin, like let's make that happen. We could go there and. You know, maybe we could make a short little video of going there, right? And then on the next show, we could actually, end the show by showing, we could boot that up into the program and people could see our adventure at the tea shop, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
So Daniel loves Earl Grey, and you could do some recommendations, maybe, with a single tasting to compare. And he's willing to donate to the experiment.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, if he's got some good Earl Greys, that's cool. I was going to approach some of the tea shops and see, like, hey, what you got, what you recommend? I'm doing this show, right? What can we, is there something you think is real good that I could talk about? Maybe get some information from the actual people that are making the tea and selling it, too. So, cool. We can talk about tea, but I just want to open up, like, anybody, like, if there's anything else you want to talk about, that's cool. All topics are fair game. This is just, that's what tea time is about. Let's sit down, have some tea, talk about whatever you want to talk about. So.
And then Daniel finally says, I bet honey and black would bring out the cocoa.
Oh, yeah. I'll do that next. I'll do just honey with no dairy. So. It's warm, so.
What is that? I missed.
This is just black. This is just black. Nothing added. So.
I was still trying to get Instagram to work.
Oh yeah. So, all right, and just remind this show is going out live to Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, all at the same time. Unfortunately, we are not on Instagram. Instagram is their own private thing that they do themselves. There's no way to boot into that from anywhere else. So you just kind of have to be on Instagram. Eventually, maybe we'll, put up a cell phone and just kind of do it as its own private broadcast on Instagram. But for right now, you can see it right here. And then also go over to YouTube and Twitter to follow along.
Is that I can't figure out our Wi-Fi password.
Oh, that's what it is? So, yeah, so she's trying to boot up a cell phone to make it work or whatever, but, she's, our Wi-Fi password's out of her reach at the moment, and she's running my show, so run the show. Don't worry about it. We'll deal with it next time. So we got honey and black, recommended by Daniel. So, give it a little blow. The smell is good with the honey.
Daniel says you keep chugging tea like that and you're going to have to take a potty break.
No, actually, I'm lucky. I make it all the way to the end without having to do that. So I'm lucky. Maybe when I get older, it'll be a problem. But, Nikki helped me with this pot last time and it took almost an hour. So I'm drinking it all by myself this time. Hopefully it's not going to take that long. This is good. I think if you're going to do honey and black with this tea, and I don't know if this applies to all Rooibus teas, but the taste is so soft, black, that you have to be careful with the honey. I probably put just a little too much. It's sweet. It's not too sweet, but the honey flavor. This is a clover honey. The clover honey, like it almost overpowers the tea. I can still taste the tea in there, but I almost like I put a little too much honey in there for that. To where I'm tasting more clover honey. But I'm pretty sure, like, if you put a wildflower, like, if you pick the right honey to go with this tea, and you put just the right amount, like, it's still good, but
You know why?
that's nice. It's very light. You get that honey flavor, and then it brings out, it does something different for the cocoa. I can taste the cocoa, but it's, like the cocoa with cream, of course, you get more of like a chocolate milk kind of flavor. This is different. I can't really even put my tongue on describing it.
You know why the URL won't work? Danny's not here.
Oh, that's what it is? Yeah, so I was trying to research the website for this, and I was like, it won't work. And then we were showing a friend of ours about it, talking about the show coming up, and I type it in, and it worked just fine when he was here. Now Nikki has gone, and she's trying to pull up the website too, and it doesn't work. I don't understand what the problem is. Like, one day, you can find the website, and then the next day, you can't. It's mysterious.
Daniel says, do you want to talk about the 40th pop-up?
Yeah, so we can do that. So, in lieu of questions, if others have questions, that's fine. So, coming up, I'm turning 40 at the end of April. My birthday is April 30th, and a local artist that's been chatting with us here, Daniel Colvin. We have birthdays that are really close together within a few days, and we're both the same age. So over the last few years, we've just kind of been like, hey, why don't we just like do a celebration together, make something happen, right? To maximize the festivities. And the first year we kind of just did, everybody hang out, let's do some cool stuff. And then the second year, we actually put on a pretty cool show. We decided to make some art. Daniel had a grant from the Greater Columbus Arts Council to purchase some very specific fibers for making some Japanese paper, and so he had made 4 kind of scrims that came down that created a fairly square kind of sheet in the middle of the Raw Gallery downtown, and that's run by George Leach. And then he had put these pods. He does sculpture with paper, where he's making molds and doing various techniques to create these different kinds of shapes using the paper he creates. And he made these pods that then fit on the actual scrims. And then I had made some work with video using an endoscopy camera. If you don't know what an endoscopy camera is, it's a camera it's the kind of thing in surgery that they might put down your throat or something to see into your stomach. It's like a camera on a long cord. Lots of plumbers use it to look at drains and stuff. We were able to pick one up that worked, that hooked to a computer. And so what I did is I drug that camera through the Park of Roses here in Columbus, Ohio, to get this very very narrow focus, very close to the ground, like on the ground, looking up, like, so that leaves and blades of grass are really tall. And then I did my process to make a video, and I projected that video onto then Daniel's paper sculpture. And then we had a big birthday celebration. We're like, hey, we made an installation. Why don't you all come and join us, have some food, have some drinks, and have a good time? And it was really, really great. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, like, I had to take a hiatus for some personal reasons. So last year, we weren't able to put something together, unfortunately, because I was out of it, and I'm still kind of getting back into what I need to do. And so this year, we're going to try to do something. So what we've done already is that, Daniel, he does a really cool thing during Columbus, Ohio. We have what's called a gallery hop, and it's the first Saturday of every month. And Daniel does a thing where he's working with the Elevator Brewery Company, and he does a pop-up art show. He's been doing this for, I think, a little over a year now, and he He basically invites an artist to come up. He puts up temporary walls in the middle of the brewery. So you're back there with the brew tanks and everything. And he has these temporary walls up that then he hangs art on from an artist, right? And so I said, well, our birthday's in April. There's a show April 7th. If you don't have anybody, let's try to find a way to do something. So we're going to have a pop-up show. There will be a Facebook event for this eventually, a public event that we're going to have. I may have some art there, and we're going to invite. We've invited a handful of other artists that we know to come and bring a piece or two to hang, and so it's going to be a group show. It's like I call it 40-year mixed bag pop-up show and celebration. And so we're going to have some artists there as a group show, and then I'll have a few things hanging there too. We're going to have plenty of libations, beer from Elevator Brewery Company. We're going to pick up some wine too. And then we're going to do a public event and just invite people, like anybody can come. And if you want to come, just, bring your own favorite kind of like slice of pizza. Whatever, like pick it up from wherever you want in town. Pick up something, small, medium, large, whatever you want to bring. Bring your favorite slice and, kind of hang out with us. We'll have plenty of drinks. We'll have art to talk about. And that'll be from like 5 to 10-ish on Saturday, April 7th. We'll be posting a public event about that right now. We have a private event that we're working with artists to try to negotiate what art is going to be in the room. But it's a lot of artists, so I didn't get a head count of exactly how many, but it's over 10 artists at least. It might be closer to 15 or 18 artists that we're going to have bring a piece or two to hang. It's all local artists that we know that range in type, mode, ethnicity, gender. Like, it's a pretty, like I said, mixed bag, right? People of all kinds of stuff. Photo, painting, I'm going to have some video stills. I may even bring a TV and set it up and have something on a television. I don't know yet. And just all different kinds. So we can all just sit around and look at the art that we make that inspires us and helps us, communicate with the world. And for some of us, helps us get through the stuff that we deal with, right? It's how we process and deal with the world is through the creations that we make, and hopefully that helps other people process the things around them too. So we'll be posting a link about that. You can find out more. Again, Saturday, April 7th, 5 to 10, most likely. Elevator Brewery Company on 4th downtown. So.
Daniel
Cool.
says, bring your own pizza party from your favorite pie shop. Easiest potluck ever.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. We haven't decided what we'll do yet. Our favorite pizza place left Ohio. So, we're kind of... I don't know what we're going to do yet. It was Pizza Rev. They were doing some really cool stuff. They had gluten-free, vegan. It was all custom-made for like $7-8. You could get yourself a good size 12-inch pizza with whatever you wanted on it. But they just right around Thanksgiving this year just packed up and left the entire state, closed all locations. So I don't know what happened there, but that's how it goes. Now we're actually looking for a new favorite pizza place. We're kind of missing that. So we were doing that quite regularly. Oh man, the honey is really good. I think it really matters on the honey. And the longer it sits in there, the more it cools down. If you can get it to get below to like a 60 degree where it's just warm, 50, 60 degree, the flavors come out a little bit more on that. So what I'm going to try to do now is we'll do a little honey and milk, see what that does. I'll try to go a little less. Just a little bit of honey. Just a little bit. Right? Because that was way overpowering. Yeah. That looks good. And then we'll just do just a little drop. There you go. Not too much. See what that does. Awesome. Well, I put up some other topics just in case if you want to talk about. So tonight's the Oscars. I went ahead and kind of dug in and looked at kind of the Best Picture nominations there. I haven't seen any of them. I know a lot about them, though. My day job is I'm program coordinator for film studies at OSU, so lots of students have been talking about it, and everybody does. Within film studies, there's people who watch the Oscars and care, and then there's people who don't. And I kind of fall into that camp of like, meh, in the middle. I might watch it, I might not watch it. It's not that big a deal if I don't. I didn't see any of the movies. But, there's some cool stuff, It's kind of interesting that there are 2 films about World War II up right now. I mean, it's not that surprising, but it is. Dark Hour and then also Dunkirk. Kind of about the same kind of stuff with all the politics and everything that's going on right now in the world. It's interesting that those are 2 films that are being nominated. Makes sense. Get Out. I have not seen it. I want to see it. I missed it in the theaters. You should see Get Out. If you haven't seen Get Out, you should see Get Out. It's messed up. It's a psychological minefield. Like, you should definitely see this film. I've watched the trailers. I've seen some faculty teach on it and talk about it. Lots of students talking about it. It's definitely something to check out. Shape of Water, Guillermo del Toro. His films are just beautiful. Like, his cinematography, his color palettes. Like, if you're looking for something pretty to look at, you can't get a whole lot better. But, we're still going. Don't worry about it. It's just the phone probably locked up. So, you definitely should see Shape of Water. It's a pretty film. There's some weirdness going on. It's kind of like this weird, has a sci-fi element to it. It's a fish dude that's trapped in a research area, and a woman kind of makes a connection with him, and it goes from there. I won't spoil anything for you. So, there's also an Italian film in the mix, Call Me By Your Name, which is interesting. Delves into some like coming of age and sexuality and figuring out who you are. It looks very pretty too. We have a class at OSU that's intro to Italian film, and so I'm wondering if once that's out and about, whether our faculty teaching that class will end up bringing that in. I actually used a still from it for our poster for the class for next year, thinking that, okay, well, maybe they'll end up talking about this film in this class. It'll be a good way to promote it, if nothing else. So I didn't really get a chance to look at any of the other nominees or anything for the Oscars, but, I'm sure it'll be okay. Lots of people are going to plan parties and try to watch it. Here in Columbus, I know that, like, Studio 35 is doing a big thing, and I think the Gateway Film Center is doing a big thing. So a lot of our independent cinemas, they'll probably have like a big Oscars night celebration thing where you can go and hang out with people and watch the Oscars, and they'll have, all kinds of contests and other things that you can do. So, do we have any questions?
So McCall said Pizza Shop was a front for Russian spies. And then she said Get Out is on HBO, and she's afraid to watch it.
Oh.
She's got social anxiety. She's got enough social anxiety.
Yeah. I could see that being an issue. So, what, Pizza Rev was a front for the Russians? Maybe that's what it was. You never know. It's crazy.
Daniel wants to know what's up for Best Picture. Then he said, never mind, he looked.
Yeah, the ones I just listed were Best Picture. The only one I didn't mention is 3 Billboards, which is interesting, right? It's and Lady Bird. I want to see Lady Bird. Lady Bird, I'm excited. I just watched the trailer for it again. It looks very fun. I'm blanking on the actress's name right now, but she played the role of Roseanne's sister in the old Roseanne Barr show. I grew up around that show, and so seeing that actress in a major film role, I'm excited because I've seen her in some other stuff. She's a great actress, and I don't think she gets as much work as she should. And so I kind of want to check out Lady Bird as soon as I can, just because that looks like a fun film. So
Daniel and Kim saw Darkest Hour and loved it.
Yeah.
And then thinks 3 Billboards looked good.
Yeah, 3 Billboards, that looks good. Darkest Hour, you can't go wrong with Gary Oldman, playing Winston Churchill. Gary Oldman is phenomenal actor. Like, it's just pretty amazing. We're going to put my tea back over here now. Nikki has tried again to get find the URL and get the website and get it posted. It's just a total pain. It doesn't work. I don't understand what's up with that, but it's probably China blocking our internet access.
Probably. That's probably like a
right?
hourly shutdown or something. Like
Yeah, there may be
like
something going on. So this is light honey with light cream. I didn't really talk about it much. It doesn't. I mean, it makes it a little smoother because of the cream. The light honey didn't really do a whole lot to bring much anything out or accent it. I feel like if you're gonna go cream, you know, if you add a little bit more sweetener to it, like a sugar or something, it's gonna bring out the chocolate and the grape that's part of it. And then also there's just a little bit of like the sweet earthy flavor on the actual tea itself that I think the sugar actually brings out better than honey does.
So, Michael has seen Lady Bird and 3 Billboards.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Michael Carroll, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then McCole Childress asked if we've seen Mudbound.
No.
Are you kidding? We're antisocial. We don't get out of the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, we were supposed to go see a movie at the Wex last night, but we ended up just like sitting and chilling and talking to a few people instead of going to the movie. So, I'm going to try just some sugar. To see if it adds the sweetness without adding the flavor of the honey. Let's see what that does. We're actually doing pretty good on the tea here. So
I'm getting there. I'll help.
yeah, we're at 12:22. We got plenty of time. Right? Has it actually almost been an hour?
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep.
So yeah, we're doing well. So
Michael Carroll says it's Lori Metcalf.
That's Lori Metcalf?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I just really like her as an actress. Did she wind up on... Oh, yeah, she's the mom on Big Bang Theory.
Is she?
Yeah, she plays the mom for... see, I don't watch Big Bang Theory, and we watched it for a while, and then they don't watch a lot of network TV, so I've already forgotten his name. The Bazinga guy.
Nicole says the URL is a Russian hack job.
Probably. Okay, so black with sugar. That's good. That's much better. The honey's too overpowering. If you don't put enough honey, you don't pull out the extra flavors in the tea. If you put too much honey, then it tastes like honey water. If you put a little sugar in it, just sugar, then you don't need the cream, and that really yanks out that the grape and that sweet earthiness that's in the red. That's good. I like that. That's good.
Okay, so McCole Childress asks, what got you into tea?
So this will be a bigger topic in another episode that we talk about, but growing up, I'm from Chillicothe, Ohio, about an hour south, but my parents are both from Columbus, and my grandmother lived up here in Clintonville, and we would come up and see her, and I don't remember them living on their own at any point, but eventually, save enough for one more go, at least. My earliest memories is my grandmother lived in a house with a woman named Ruth, and they were just really good friends, and lived together, and she was kind of like my second grandmother. And between my grandma and Ruthie, they drank a lot of tea. A lot of tea. That was like what they drank, especially Ruthie. She drank tea. They didn't really drink coffee at all. They drank tea a lot. And so next episode, we're probably going to look at Earl Grey. The episode after that, I kind of have to come back to a very generic standard tea and do red rose tea. Because red rose is how it all started. My Ruthie drank red rose tea. My grandmother drank red rose tea. And red rose tea is just a really cool, it's been around for a long time, very simple, kind of reddish, dark tea that comes in standard tea bags. You can buy them in a box of 100. But it's just a really good, simple, day drinker tea. Nothing special. You just need your tea in the morning kind of thing. And what I'll talk about on this show is just with a Jiri tea, you get some cool little accoutrement when you buy the tea. And so if you check out, like, I think some of my photos and if you go to my Instagram feed, there may be a photo in front of my massive monitor that I use to edit my video art. I have a little kind of diorama of some of the accoutrement that I get from Red Rose Tea. There is a bigger sculpture in there that I got from a friend that he had given to me that like sits in front of my monitor. But then around them is all the little things that I collect from the Red Rose Tea. We'll talk about that on a future episode. But that's why they drank a lot of tea, so I drank tea. My mom was a huge coffee drinker. Like, she drank coffee all the time. So I'm like 12 years old and I start drinking coffee, and bad news. And I would still drink coffee, but I try to cut that with as much tea as possible. Because I want I want something that tastes good, but I don't want to have to worry about getting all jacked up on caffeine, and especially the warm feeling. It feels so good. Like, I could just sit here and kind of meditate right now. Like, this tea is nice. Like, maybe I'm feeling the anti-inflammatory stuff or something, but I'm feeling way more relaxed than I did. You can see my eyes are kind of floating in my sockets. Like, I'm feeling way more relaxed than I did with the Jiri tea last week. Like, this is nice. It's very relaxing.
All right, so Daniel says little figurines. And then Nicole Childress says, my first drink of tea with my grandma turned out to be coffee with Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
And Daniel wants to know what your favorite knick-knack series was.
Oh, I don't know the name of it, but my favorite. So Daniel Cole, when he's talking about, he's giving away the secret. So the Red Rose Tea comes with these little porcelain figurines, and they do a different series every so often. So I'll talk about that on the next show. But my favorite is the koala. There's a koala that they have that's just really cute. He's kind of like sitting there, and he's got a branch that like comes out the side that he's kind of hanging on to, and he's hanging off to the side, just kind of like, hey, I'm a koala, like just chilling, and it's really cute. I really like that one. Right now, I'm not so happy with the series they're doing. It's like American Heritage, and it's not that it's like I don't like it because it's American Heritage, but it's the stuff they chose to make. Like, there's a White House, there's like a treasure chest, I think there's like a cannon. I just feel like they could have picked some better icons to use for little porcelain figurines. Especially when you talk about American Heritage. But that said, I have the White House. I'll show you that. Most likely on that episode, I'll bring down my little diorama and I'll show it, and I'll show you how it's set up and everything. So this is almost the last one. We got like a little bit left in there. Trying to decide.
Daniel had to quit drinking coffee past noon, and then he says the Zoo series. He has the elephant and the lion.
Oh yeah, Zoo series. I'm gonna do. I've made a mess.
And McCall says she needs a knick-knack tea. Oh my god.
Little tea, little honey, right? I want that.
Daniel has a whale somewhere from the Oceanic series.
I have a whale and a sea lion, and I think a walrus, and a mermaid. I also have like a giraffe, a horse. I have a bunch of them. So I'm gonna do. I'm doing a little honey because I want to do the honey, but I want to add just a bit of sugar, right, to get a little bit more sweetness, but without adding honey flavor. And then we'll go.
Okay, so I'm going back a little bit.
Okay.
You said that Sheldon's mom was Lori Metcalf.
Sheldon's mom.
Yes, and Michael.
Is it not Sheldon's?
About that,
oh yeah.
And I looked it up, and Lori Metcalf is Sheldon's mom.
Yep.
On Big Bang Theory.
Yep.
Her daughter, Zoe Perry, is young Sheldon's mom.
Oh, really? So her daughter's playing. So there's a separate show that's like young Sheldon, and so Metcalf's daughter is playing the mom there, where she plays the mom on. Yeah, I just found it was weird that like Big Bang Theory, if you don't realize it, is like a return of like 80s, like late 80s, early 90s popular TV actors and actresses. So like Sheldon and what Raj and the Jewish guy's name. I don't remember that character's name. But like those three, they're not really from anything else. But everybody else on that show, besides Penny, I guess too, they're like from some other show from the 80s. Like half the cast is from Roseanne Barr. But then you've also got Blossom and a few other things. I loved Blossom. I don't know. I was weird. I liked watching Blossom as a kid. So I
got called Blossom in 6th grade because I had a hat.
Oh yeah, if you wore a big hat, you were Blossom.
It wasn't even that big.
Yeah. And then she had a friend. Her name was Six. Like how cool is that? My name's a number. I just thought that was fun. So as long as they don't bring on the Lawrences. What was the name of that show with the Lawrence brothers? Was that Blossoms? Or was it Blossom? Weren't they on Blossom? Weren't they her brothers or something? Joey was.
Whoa! Their whole show.
I'm laughing at myself again. Whoa!
Okay, so your White House figurines. McCole says that's spy stuff. Damn Russians.
McCole's on a Russians kick today.
Yeah, you're bad pads. And then McCole says, Blossom! Daniel used to get in trouble for going to family members' houses and snipping figurines from their tea.
Yeah.
If it was one he didn't have.
Yeah. Oh,
Daniel says Penny came from something, but he can't remember what. Penny came from the Reba show.
Oh, Reba.
Yeah.
Yeah, where, oh man, now what's her last name? Reba McEntire. Yeah.
Colonel Sanders. Same thing.
If you have not seen that, that's funny. Look up Reba McEntire, Colonel Sanders. Nikki's gonna try to find it and post it. So KFC in a desperate act to bring back people who might want to eat fried chicken. Don't get me wrong, I love me some fried chicken.
I think it has a bad name because...
But yeah, the whole change of name and the Kentucky Fried Chicken and whatever. But they're trying to bring back the Colonel persona, and they've done a few different things. But most recently, they do Reba McEntire as the Colonel, and it's pretty funny. It's very self-reflexive. There's like, she's in the audience, and she's the Colonel, and like there's the whole thing. Oh, it's a funny little like minute and a half little commercial. So it's good. It's fun because she's petite. She's not very tall. She's kind of small, and so in the Colonel outfit, it's pretty funny to see her in that outfit. So, so this is good too.
Nicole says she's from Charmed.
Oh yeah, she might be from Charmed too. That makes sense.
Charmed.
No, I watched a few episodes of it, though. So, yeah, most of them have been on something else. So, I just found it was funny that, like, half the cast is from the Roseanne Barr show. So, yeah, all right, I'm going to go ahead and just end this little spot right here. I'm not letting any of this go to waste. Even if it's got some drugs in it, last little bits of bark, I'm sure it's good for me. Just go black, see if it has given some extra flavor. It's very subtle. Cool. All right, so we're pushing a little over an hour here with tea time, and I've got my last little bit of tea, so I don't want to belabor stuff too much. So real quickly, our next show that's coming out of Nicolette Cinematographics, which helps sponsor this, and all these shows are made possible from a grant from the Greater Columbus Arts Council. They're artists in the community grant. Nikki had originally written a grant for the device that makes all of this kind of stuff happen, and then we just kind of like set up the space around it. And so with her show now, I'm doing this show, and my next show will be in 2 weeks, where I'm gonna look at Earl Grey. So what's that? So next Sunday is the 11th. So then we got 7 days after that. So the 18th. So March 18th, I believe, at 11:30 a.m. You can come back and have another cup of tea with us and talk. If we have any viewers across the globe that end up catching this, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the show. Feel free to post more questions in the comments section. Follow the Matt Swift artist page so you can see more of the shows that we're doing. Also, it is posted on my artist page where I post some of the art that I do. I recently posted the link for this on my Instagram feed. If you're not, if you do Instagram and you're not following me, I'd urge you to check me out. I'm basically posting a new piece of art every day on that feed. I have mountains and mountains of art that I've been creating for a long time. And so I'm just posting up a new thing every day there that you can check out. And then let's see here. Next Sunday, March 11th, with Ilya Labazzetto, will be Columbus Creatives Live at 8 p.m. And I think that's about all I got for updates and stuff. Do we have any final comments, questions?
Yes, Nicole says the last few seasons she was Billy. I'm telling too much about myself.
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of people watched Charmed, right? Charmed was, is a good show. So it had, some man, what's that woman's name? She played Sam on Who's the Boss? My memory is like blanking. So, but then it also had girl from 90210 and Shannon Doherty, and another woman. They were the main people. So, yeah, it was an alright show. Anything else? Any last minute things? All right.
That's all I'm seeing.
Cool. So look for more posts. I'm about to take the last little bit of tea here, and we're gonna sign out. And like I said, if you had any more comments or questions, feel free to post something here. Thanks for participating, everybody. Daniel, McCole, Nicole, Michael, anybody else who logged on, let us know. Happy you were here to see it. And I guess we'll, with that, take this last sip of tea and...
Magic, fashion, demon slaying, what's not to love?
Magic...
Melissa Milano.
Melissa Milano! Man, how did I forget? Alyssa Milano, yeah. How did I forget that name? So...
and on that note...
yeah. Thanks for joining us for Tea Time. We'll see you next time. If you want to join in for Columbus Creatives Live next week at 8 p.m., it'll be right here. I'll post it here on this page, but it'll also be on Nicolette Swift Video and Nicolette Cinematographics. And you can go and watch all of these episodes on YouTube at Nicolette Cinematographics is the user there. But you can also find them through Twitter, through either my page, through Nikki's page, which is Cinematographics. My page, I think, is Matt Swift Art, and then we have Nicolette, and then we have a few other feeds as well. So what is
one? Go pee.
Go
He's
pee.
Not wiggling enough.
I don't have to. No, I don't actually have to go. Yeah, I drink a lot of water and stuff, and so like I've got, I don't have to worry about that stuff so much. So cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining me for some tea, and we'll see you next time. So it's tea time.